It's Wednesday, October 30th, right now on 12 News at 10.
I'm Chase Golightly in Santan Valley. Tonight we're speaking with a man who found a woman's dead body in this dirt field. Now law enforcement is telling us it was the woman's own son who killed her.
I'm Bianca Bono in the West Valley, where tomorrow both presidential candidates will speak to voters. But will it make a difference? Tonight, a political expert weighs in.
A West Valley woman's frightening encounter with a coyote at a popular park. Find out how she was eventually able to escape.
It's Halloween Eve and a spooky storm's a brewing. When it's set to sneak into our state, and what tricks does it have up its sleeve for us?
12 News at 10 with Mark Curtis and Caribe Divine starts now.
And we begin with breaking news in South Phoenix. A shooting leaves one person dead, and police are actively searching for the gunman. Sky 12 over a mobile home park near 7th Street and Baseline, where you can see a very large police presence there. Police say that the victim suffered at least one gunshot wound and died at the scene. Stay with 12 News for more updates.
Our other top story, a teen is accused of killing his own mother and then leaving her body in a field. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Mark Curtis.
And I'm Caribe Divine. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly is joining us live in Santan Valley, not far from where that victim's body was found. And Chase, you actually spoke to the person who made that terrible discovery.
Caribe, Mark, it was a jogger who was out running this morning in this dirt field right behind me when he came across the body of 38-year-old Mary Collier and immediately called 911. James Ritchie goes running in this field near Hunt Highway and Bella Vista Road almost every morning.
Came up on the little dirt piles right here.
When he noticed a body lying out in the open.
Even when I saw her, I was like, no, like this is like a Halloween proper prank or something like that. There's no way that like this isn't happening.
When he got closer, that's when he noticed a weapon.
Saw a knife, broken pieces, blood on it. And then that's when it instantly clicked, this is a crime scene.
Ritchie immediately called 911, with Pinal County Sheriff's deputies arriving just a few minutes later.
The cause of death appears to be from edged weapons and blunt force trauma.
Lieutenant Ross Teeple says they were working on identifying the woman when they got another 911 call from a nearby neighborhood, an 18-year-old telling law enforcement his mom was kidnapped.
Once they arrived on scene, they quickly determined that the two calls were related.
Looking at the mom's ID card, it matched the body. Through further investigation, they discovered there was no kidnapping, believing the teen killed his own mother, 38-year-old Mary Collier.
We don't have any evidence to show that there was an actual kidnapping. It indicates that they walked out together, both of consent, and then once out there, she was attacked and then left in the desert.
Saying it's possible the teen reported the kidnapping as a way to cover his tracks. Now the 18-year-old son, who has not been identified, is facing possible charges of first-degree murder.
I just don't know how someone could be so mad and angry that their first thought is to go and just kill somebody, let alone your mother.
Now, the sheriff's office tells us they are still working to determine a motive in this murder, but they did also tell us that last night there was a fight between this mother and son, which could have led to the events we saw this morning. We're live in Santan Valley tonight. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, just a horrible story. Chase, thank you. Today, a jury found a man accused of killing his aunt when he was just 14 years old, guilty of second-degree murder. Back in 2019, police say that Eris Adel stabbed his aunt Toya Harper to death in the middle of the night at a home in Sun Lakes. During the trial, his mother testified that Harper and other relatives were in town for a family reunion at the time of the murder. Adel's sentencing hearing is scheduled for the first week of December.
And tonight we're learning more about the man who police say is responsible for setting multiple fires in a dorm at GCU over the weekend. According to police documents, 19-year-old Jacob Jarvis told authorities he was feeling stressed out and not well, which led him to setting a couch and a door on fire. Officials say the fires caused about $50,000 in damage. Jarvis is now facing arson charges.
All right, well, get ready for another chilly night. Meteorologist Crystal Long is here with our weather impact forecast. And Crystal, what can we expect when we walk out the door in the morning?
Well, remember how it felt this morning? It's basically going to be an instant replay of that for the valley. 55 degrees, by the way, is what we bottomed out at this morning. But it's even colder already in some spots in our state. We've knocked off as much as 9 degrees in some spots in comparison to 24 hours ago. So we're already in freezing territory here for Window Rock, Flagstaff, and the Grand Canyon in the 20s. And these digits continue their decline until sunrise. 66 right now is what we find on the thermometer at Phoenix Sky Harbor, but we have slipped into the 50s for Goodyear, Tempe, Mesa, chilling even more in Gilbert, all the way down into the 40s and 50s tonight across the valley. So you can take advantage of this cooler weather by turning your AC off, but I'd only recommend cracking it since it's so cold to start. But it's going to be another pleasant day tomorrow where you could throw those windows wide open later in the morning.
Crystal, thanks. Now to Decision 2024. Both presidential candidates will be in the Valley tomorrow to make their final pitch to swing state voters. It comes after the candidates and their surrogates made several appearances across the state over the past few months.
That's right, but how big of a difference could these campaign stops make just days out from the election? 12 News journalist Bianca Bono talked to a political expert to find out.
Not only will both candidates be here in Arizona, they'll be less than 6 miles apart.
It's fairly unprecedented to have both candidates in the state on the same day.
So it will be an unprecedented Halloween in the Valley as both presidential candidates hope for treats in the form of votes 5 days before the election.
It'll be interesting to see if there are some coattails to these visits because Halloween's a bit of a tough day. A lot of people are busy doing other things.
Paul Bentz is the Senior Vice President of Research and Strategy at High Ground Public Affairs, weighing in on the decision by both former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris to spend one of the final days of their campaigns stumping in the Valley. How effective are these rallies in the final days leading up to the election?
About 1.8 million ballots have been returned so far in the election, but we are anticipating about 3 million total voters plus to show up. That means there's 1 million folks who have not returned a ballot yet that are either going to drop it off in the next few days or vote on election day.
Do you think there's a big chunk of Arizona voters who are still undecided at this point?
I think there's probably a bigger chunk of Arizonans that are likely to just not vote at all.
And it's those voters Bentz believes Harris and Trump are trying to court now. He says history has shown that both Democrats and Republicans have seen the scales tipped in Arizona in the week leading up to Election Day. And he believes that's exactly why the campaigns are still vying for Valley voters.
In 2018, they were able to do that. We saw Martha McSally with a narrow lead when the first ballots were dropped, and then we saw Kyrsten Sinema come back. We've seen it more recently in the last presidential election. Biden started out with a pretty sizable lead that narrowed as we got closer to the election, as more ballots were counted, as more ballots went for Trump. So there's actually a reason for both sides to use history to demonstrate that these last minute ballots, these drop-off voters, these people that are going to show up, they are essential because they can make a difference in these really narrow races.
Harris's visit to Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater is set for the early afternoon, while Trump is expected here at Desert Diamond Arena in the evening. We're in the West Valley. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right, Bianca, thank you for that. And we just want to remind you, make sure that you are ready for Election Day by downloading the 12 Plus app on your TV. 12 Plus is where you'll go for multiple hours of live election coverage of the local and the state races as they roll in. All you have to do is search for 12 Plus. Right now, you can do it on your Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku.
Tonight, a West Valley woman is raising awareness about a frightening encounter that she and her dog had with an aggressive coyote in a local park. She managed to capture everything on camera. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra is in Goodyear with the story.
Meet Day.
Day, honey.
This Great Pyrenees is just like any other dog.
He loves walking. I walk him twice a day.
That's what Day and his owner, Andrea Eagle, were doing around 7 o'clock Wednesday morning, walking through Bullard Wash Park in Goodyear when they were met by a frightening encounter.
There was a gentleman down the path that had told me, hey, the coyotes are out in the wash this morning. And I said, Oh, they always run away from day, no big deal. And I really thought it was no big deal.
This coyote, however, was a big deal. Go! Eagle recorded video as the coyote runs up to the pair and would not leave them alone.
It was literally relentless, following us around, circling around us. I was yelling at it, hollering, and it wouldn't stop.
While some see the coyote's behavior as playful, Eagle described it as aggressive. She tried to get away, but it would follow. Day tried to lunge at it, but the coyote was not scared.
I didn't know if there was something wrong with it, or, why was it being so aggressive towards Day, especially because he's so big.
Arizona Game and Fish says people should never ignore coyotes because the animal may lose its natural fear of humans and display bold behavior like this one. The agency says people can scare off coyotes by making loud noises and keeping eye contact. Using a repellent like mace may work on bold animals that refuse to leave, something Eagle says she wished she had with her Wednesday morning.
I have pepper spray, a body alarm, and then I ordered an air horn, and I'll have all that on me every time I leave the house, no matter when or where.
Eagle and Day were eventually able to escape with the help of another man in the park.
We see a lot of things around here, and this is the first time in 4 years I've seen something like this.
But she's sharing her encounter in hopes it helps others.
They're wild animals, so big dog, little dog, any dog, you just protect yourself and leave the house prepared.
In Goodyear, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.